Live from PowerUp Gaming, 9890 South Maryland Parkway, Las Vegas, Nevada. The future home of the Sin City Challenge, the NBA 2K17 video game tournament, where some lucky winner can win up to $10,000. Coming up Memorial Day weekend, we are 2Strong. I'm Will, the Moneyline Guy, and this is
Al York Sports. How y'all doing, peoples? We're going to get right to it. We're going to jump right into the NBA playoffs. We can't break down the NBA with the seedings because the seedings ain't solidified yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk to y'all about Golden State and Cleveland Cavaliers and who would be a basic roadblock potential to knock one of these teams off. So I'm going to go ahead with my partner, Will, the Moneyline Guy, and I'm going to just shut it off. Well, we're going to start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Who can be the possible roadblock, Will?
Well, the Cavaliers obviously have looked pretty bad the last couple weeks. That's an understatement. But it's hard to take it real seriously. I think they built this team with all three-point shooters now, 9 of them, I believe.
Something like that.
They built this team not to win the Eastern Conference, but to win the NBA Finals. They built this team to match up with Golden State. So that's why it's taking this team a little longer to mesh. And that's why they've looked so bad at the end of the year. So the only roadblock I see for Cleveland right now is besides a team is themselves, inner turmoil. And I don't believe that that'll be the case with LeBron there. But as far as any team that could beat them, there's only one team in my mind that has any shot at beating them right now. And that team may not get a chance to face, and that's the Washington Wizards.
Agree.
The Wizards have John Wall, Bradley Beal, they guard the three pretty well. Scott Brooks has, playoff experience, so he's a tough-minded coach. And I think they're capable of winning in Cleveland. They're not scared to play there. They've always, if I'm not mistaken, historically have played well in Cleveland, and they won't be intimidated to have to win not just one, but maybe 2 road games.
Right. I totally agree. I like John Wall. I like Morris. I like Gortat, the big man in the middle. They're not fearing nobody. They've been in the playoffs. They know what it takes. But I just think in a 7-game series, well, Cleveland with the experience, LeBron James will find a way to get it done.
Right. I would definitely agree. For Washington to win, it would be one of those 1 out of every 10 series type of things. It would be,
gotcha.
They steal a series, in 6 games. It'd have to be like Washington wins it on their home court in the 6th game. They're not going to win a Game 7 in Cleveland, that type of thing. So that's the only thing I could see happening. Toronto, they're a two-man team. I don't love their coach, so and they've had historically not great playoff runs, so there's no pedigree there for them to win.
Right.
The Celtics still are a year or 2 away from being contenders. And in that game, Cleveland went at Boston there. Was it last week? And they lost by 24 points. Was irrelevant, the final score. That showed me all I needed to know about that matchup. Cleveland was focused. They said, this is our conference, and don't you forget it. And that was that. So
let me ask you something. That Boston situation.
Mm-hmm.
I want your take on what do you feel about Danny Ainge not making a move before the deadline, because they could have got Paul George if the price was right. Do you agree with Ainge did by not trying to give up his picks to make it a future thing for the Celtics, or you think he should have went for it this year?
I agree with him not making a move, because no matter what they did, they're not beating Cleveland this year anyway, chances are. So
even with Paul George?
Even with Paul George, I just don't see them meshing right away. It's too short a time for them to mesh and give the Cavaliers the type of beat them type of series where they would win. I think Ainge knows that the Celtics' time will be, if not next year, 2 years away, when LeBron is not say retired, but that team is kind of broken up. LeBron could be even with a different team. Who knows? But when the Cavaliers break up, and that'll be very soon, that's when the Celtics feel that's their time. And now it's not their time, so why why mortgage any future for no reason? It's kind of
I wouldn't say for no reason.
But, it's not a chance we're taking.
A legitimate shot to win this year. I don't think they can do it this year when you got, your leader of a team, Isaiah Thomas, who I love to death, but he's not going to take them over Cleveland.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I don't even think with Paul George they would still beat Cleveland. I think it would be a great series, but I just don't think, their ancillary parts are there for them to win that series. So Ainge was thinking, it's just not our time right now. I'm not going to mortgage our future for a guy who, Paul George having a great year, and he came back, amazing comeback from that horrific injury. So all kudos to him. I give him all the credit in the world. But I think they need more than that to beat Cleveland right now. So
right now, I'm going to say one thing that nobody's really thinking about. If Cleveland ends up playing Indiana in round 1, that's going to be the most dangerous series, I feel, of the whole series, of the whole playoff series. You know why? Because right now, they're not clicking in all cylinders. And Indiana has proven to give these guys a run for their money. So being that it's the first round matchup, I wouldn't be real surprised if Indiana gets them in the first round. Now, I would be surprised if Cleveland gets out the first round and any other team beats them. I would definitely be surprised because now they'll be off and running.
With Indiana, I just don't see them playing defensively is where they're still weak.
Right.
Even their wins, they're giving up too many points, and they don't guard the 3 well.
I say the same about Cleveland, though.
Well, Cleveland shoots the 3 so well, it's almost like they don't have to guard the 3 unless they're playing Golden State. I think it's just they're choosing not to guard the 3. They're capable of doing it. They did in the finals last year. Indiana hasn't shown that capability. But like you said, they have that, they do match up pretty well with Cleveland. They could probably win a game or 2, but that would be as far as I would take it there with them, realistically.
Right. One thing I forgot, and it just came in my head right now, Cleveland will take it to the next level come playoff time.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? But now let's jump to the West Coast.
Yep.
For the Golden State Warriors, who would be the possibility of giving them a run or a roadblock?
Well, let's look at Golden State before I even get to other teams. They have 4 of the top 10 NBA players. I don't know if it's arguable or not. They have Durant, Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. Are those 4 of the top 10 players in all of NBA? Maybe Draymond Green arguably is, but he's still he's right there.
He's an all-star.
Okay. When you have 4 of the 10 best players in the league, or 4 of the best 15, let's just to be safe, you're not gonna have many roadblocks. It's just gonna take such a Herculean effort to not just to beat him in a series, but to win a game or 2. That's the hardest thing for me to fathom. Now, as far as a roadblock goes, besides the integrating Durant again, which I don't think is a problem. They already integrated him once. It shouldn't be an issue now. Obviously, San Antonio, they've proven that they beat them. I don't count that second game, but the opening game, we won there. And San Antonio, let's call it like this. They are a bad home team. They are a great road team. They want to play on the road. They don't want anything to do with their home court anymore. I don't know why. Maybe there's something in the water down there.
It's strange because they always was a great home team.
Well, yeah, but not this year. It just seems like
Timmy Duncan is starting to show now.
It's very well it could be. No leadership there or lack of it. But whatever the reason may be, it seems like they're more comfortable on the road. They could push them, I think, to 6 games. 7, I would be hard-pressed to say. I don't see them beating Golden State unless they get – Kawhi's going to play great. Aldridge is going to play pretty well. Now, who's that third guy? They're going to need a third star. Who is it? It's not Pau Gasol. It's not Tony Park anymore. It's certainly not Ginobili. Danny Green, no. Is it Kyle Anderson? No.
It should be Danny Green, but he's
not a star.
I know, but he actually stepped back instead of moved forward.
Yeah. Now he's hurt. They don't have that third.
He's declining.
They just don't have that third guy that can, they're going to, let's say they double Kawhi. Leonard gets his. Who's that third guy? Tony Parker's, unless he's hiding something or Parker's not showing anything,
right.
and he has a renaissance in the playoffs, he's basically a non-factor. He can't hit a jump shot anymore. He gets in the lane and he can't finish at the rim. He's barely getting to the foul line anymore, and he looks like he lacks confidence out there.
He's got too much mileage, man.
Yeah, and they turn the ball over too much. So that's a team I wouldn't even, and as much as I'm a Spurs fan, it's hard for me to see them beating them.
Yeah, he's a liability on defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Parker's is a shadow of himself, unfortunately.
That's an understatement.
He was great. You know, he was great when he was great, but, you know, he's a shadow of something. Now I'm going to go down the line,
I got another team. I was just before
I'm going to go down the line,
right.
and as fast as you could,
Yep.
give your input. I'll interject with you.
Yeah.
We're going Houston now. What possibility or what threat can Houston put on Golden State?
Houston, to me, cannot beat Golden State whatsoever, and the reason why is they are Golden State, but just with less talent. They do exactly the same. They play the exact same game. They're a three-point team. They just don't have as many. They don't shoot the three at this high percentage, and they don't guard the three as well as Golden State.
Yep.
So that, to me, that's a series that would be an easy series for Golden State. It would be like them scrimmaging each other. You know.
Right.
I don't think Houston could push them at all.
And just the gel in Houston ain't tight enough for me. New coach, couple new players.
They had a nice year.
You know, they had a great year. But if they face Golden State, they're going right home.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to slide out maybe one more team.
Clippers.
The Clippers.
The Clippers, there's your X factor. I mean, the Clippers, if they're right, and this is a big if. Doc Rivers, I mean, I loved him when he played for the Knicks. Don't get me, when he went down with that injury against when they, with Derek Harper took it, that was I know I'm living in the past here, but.
Right.
I loved him as a player, as a coach. He won a title with the Celtics. He's done a nice job with the Clippers. I know he gets a lot of heat there and a lot from me as well. But he did beat the Spurs in the playoffs 2 years ago, and that caught my eye. And that was a series I didn't think they had any chance to win, and he outcoached Popovich, so I have to give him his due.
Yeah, that was his moment.
Right, and if he can outcoach Popovich, and I believe Kerr was still on that staff, was he not? Was Kerr still on that Spurs staff?
I think you're right. He might have been on that staff.
Right, so that is a telling thing right there. He knows the tendencies of Steve Kerr and Popovich from that series.
Right.
Obviously you got to have the players. Now, DeAndre Jordan's free throw shooting, that's the key to the whole series. Can this guy hit any type of clutch free throws where they will, because Steve Kerr does what Pop does to hack a Jordan, the same exact thing.
Exactly.
Can he stop that from happening? And that's the big if. I don't think he can.
Yeah, see, to me, the thing with the Clippers, I love Doc Rivers, but I don't think he's getting it done over there. He's definitely not getting it done. He's got veteran players over there. Them guys should want to win, should act like they want to win, and they should be playing like they want to win, but we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that at all. And another thing about the Clippers that really turns me off, it's like, it always seems like they're one player away from really making a run.
They have 2.5 stars. They have Chris Paul,
Exactly.
superstar. Blake Griffin, superstar. Who's that third superstar? Should be DeAndre Jordan.
Should
if he
be.
gets free throws, he's a superstar.
Exactly. And I'm not saying Carmelo would have made them better. I know defensively he wouldn't, but I know for sure offensively he would have.
Another threat, yeah.
Yeah, I felt they should have went after him during the deadline. That was a huge non-pickup for the Clippers, considering that if they don't win this year, they breaking their team up. 9 out of 10 times they breaking them up.
How are you going to beat Golden State? You got to score 115 points to beat them, at least.
Exactly.
That's just to be in the ballpark.
Exactly.
And, that's where the Clippers do have some droughts at times, but they, Crawford and Redick can hit threes, but their three-point shooting's also a little suspect besides those two guys.
Right. The thing what I like about the Clippers is that they all know that this could be their last bus ride together.
Oh, it is.
And I think that'll do a lot for their heart, for the mental aspect. I hope Doc could get that engine running. And I would love to see them at least take it as far as they can, playing all-out basketball.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And with that, we cover this topic. Now we're going to go to the MVP. I got 5 names I'm going to throw at you, and then we'll just both go to one individual that we think, and we'll both make our points. I'm going to start off with Steph Curry, who's averaging 25.4, 6.6 assists, and 4.5 rebounds. Number 4, Kawhi Leonard. I'm just putting up their numbers so people understand their numbers.
Yep.
Kawhi Leonard's averaging 25.7. 3.5 assists, 5.8 rebounds. LeBron James is my third. LeBron James is averaging 26.4, 8.7 assists, 8.6 rebounds. Number 2, James Harden, 29.1, 11.2 assists, 8.1 rebounds. And number 1, Russell Westbrook, 31.9, 10.4, 10.7, average a triple-double for the season. Your take, Will.
I mean, I have one MVP, and it's probably should be the most unanimous vote in the history of the game. Is Russell Westbrook. Forget the fact that he averaged a triple-double. It hasn't been done since the Big O, Oscar Robertson, for those of you
Yes, sir.
who don't remember or weren't alive before your time, before my time, but that is still an unfathomable feat that he accomplished. Without Russell Westbrook, that team is not a playoff team. Now they're a 6th seed. And he's done more for that team than any of these other guys have for their team, just for the sake that they're in the playoffs. I could see Houston without Harden still being a playoff team, maybe an 8th seed or a 9th seed or something like that. To me, the Thunder would surely be a lottery team without him, without Westbrook. Kawhi Leonard was in the discussion, and I would put him right there. But without Kawhi Leonard, they still have, of course, the coach and still a lot of pretty good players. The Spurs would probably be
I
like.
think it'd be no playoffs for them without Kawhi, though.
Yeah,
he just does so much for them.
Yeah,
he does so much for them.
I'd still give them maybe the 8th seed. Just out of
That's strictly Popovich.
Popovich and the depth.
Okay.
And LeBron, I mean, he's always in the discussion. Of course, LeBron would be, but without LeBron James, Cleveland, would they be a playoff team? Probably. If Kyrie and Love are healthy. They're a playoff team, maybe a 7th seed. And the last name you had mentioned there?
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry. Okay, I mean he's kind of a victim of being with 3 other great players. Like, who do you pick there? Durant, he could be in the discussion too.
Exactly.
Draymond Green, of course.
Exactly.
Klay Thompson. It's like who's our MVP this night? So you can't pick 4 of them. That's why I say, MVP, the most valuable player to your team and what you do for your team. And I think Westbrook does the most for his team. He won that game the other night at Denver without, how many games did he win like that? The Orlando game, sent it to overtime with a miracle 3, beat Denver with a miracle 3.
He's got at least 8 or 10 games he's done that.
Yeah, I mean, single-handedly. So to me, that solidified his MVP, and I don't see it even being a close vote.
Right. But I can't discard what James Harden did.
Oh, he had a great year.
And I'm gonna give a lot of credit to Adelman for changing his game around. Because what Adelman seen in James Harden was a bigger and stronger version of Steve Nash.
Mm-hmm.
And he had him distribute the ball, put picks, hit threes, take it to the hole. Like I said, a bigger version of Nash. Gave up the ball, had career best assist in 11.2, which I think he really needed to change his game like that, so we could all look at him as being very productive and not being a ball hog.
You mean
James Harden?
No, D'Antoni.
Yeah, Dan Antoni.
Adelman.
I'm sorry, not Adelman. Dan Antoni.
Right. Yeah, Adelman's retired, but
yeah.
Mike D'Antoni.
Dan Antoni looked at him like a bigger and stronger Steve Nash.
Yep. Yeah, no, he reinvented himself big time, and D'Antoni was a big influence. I have to give him credit, put him in the coach of the year running. Yep.
He's basically got a whole Phoenix team all over again.
Exactly.
That's exactly what he's building. But hopefully he learned this time and gets some defense around that.
Yep. Well, defend the 3. I mean, that's what the league's become, like team defense, what Golden State does. How they shut down the Spurs.
Right.
Yeah, we are closing here from PowerUp Gaming. Just remember the 2K17 video game tournament where someone lucky can win up to $10,000. It's coming up Memorial Day weekend. So don't forget about that. Mark it on your calendars. We are 2Strong. Will, the Moneyline Guy.
Al York Sports.
We'll be back at you next week when we get the NBA brackets, and we're going to give you some series prices and who we like to win. I got a couple of underdogs, I think, alive, and I'm going to talk some hockey as well when those first-round series will be about halfway through.
Exactly. We might have some MLB. Take care, fans. Thanks for tuning in. SNG 2Strong. Al York Sports.
Happy Easter from the Moneyline Guy.